this is where it first started at, where James met him, me, and all the Crips is from this house right here. So that's why he was affiliated with the Westside. But Tookie wasn't hanging out with him when we first moved over here. Tookie wasn't over here. Tookie started coming around like about 77.
It was like a couple years later.
Right.
So what year was you over here, hanging out over here?
76, 75, 76. When they moved over here?
About 75,
They moved in 76.
Yeah, about 76, early 76.
What made you guys come over here and hang out with a guy that was, what, 10, 15 years older than you guys?
Yeah, daughters and everybody hang out over. It was like a club. We could go over here.
We could do whatever we want.
Smoke our angel dust if we wanted to, gamble. It was cool. We could do whatever we want to do. It was a hangout. We ain't had to be on the street.
A lot of times we be done robbed a jewelry store, a fur coat store place, a tuxedo shop. Yeah, we was robbing all kind of stuff. But usually, everybody that was in the robbery ended up gambling, trying to win the other one's stuff that he don't got on his cut. So we used to always come gamble, and plus we couldn't take that stuff, you know, back to our house because we was young. We wasn't under 16, stuff 18 and that nature. So this was like a safe haven for us.
Juice, you used to stay in this house and spend the night.
Yeah,
How old were you when you first met James and
15,
staying here?
Like 15.
And how was it where you could leave wherever you were living and come stay here when you were 15?
I was grown. I did what I wanted to do. My mother said, if you're going to be grown, you can't be grown in here. Hey, I respect that. I'm out of here. I just left. Been on my own. Shoot.
So this was pretty much one of the first places that you stayed when you left home.
Yeah. It is.
I remember one time, remember when they cut your socks out?
They stole my fucking money. Low bastard.
They family was something else, man. We had did a robbery and Juice fell asleep on the couch with his socks and his money was in his toe of his sock. And
no, it was in here.
Yeah, wherever it was. I know when I came over that morning and you went to reach for that money and it was gone.
You still laugh about that shit too. I don't think it's funny to this day.
We're on 105th and St. Andrews, 104th and St. Andrews, on the west side of Los Angeles. This is the house where Tookie allegedly confessed to James and Esther Garrett that he committed the murders, and this is where the house with Tookie, they didn't catch him right here, they waited, but this guy here told on Tookie, which led to his arrest while he was in a car leaving from here. So
this is where James Garrett and Esther moved to?
This is where they stayed at when Tookie got arrested. This is where the investigation started at. Yeah. Tookie was staying here when the murders happened and coming back here, and they alleged that Tookie told them after the murders what had happened and was coming back telling them. Then they in turn, after he catch a case, he tell on Tookie. And we'll talk about that later on when Juice get here, because that's what's the reason he told on Tookie, to work off a case. But this is also the possible site of a murder that took place back then, where they found a body that was discovered dumped on 104th in Normandy or Vermont or something like that. Where they allegedly, James supposed to have killed, somebody got killed and dumped from out of here, also during that same time period of 77, 78, 79, when they were staying over here. I know them very well. I was coming here quite a bit, but I quit coming. I had been knowing them since 76, 77, 75, whatever, but I was one of the first to know them. I just quit coming behind Big James. And so I quit my association with him. Because although I suspected he was a snitch, I still didn't know he had told on Tookie.
And this was still, even though we're in the hundreds, this was all considered West Side at that time?
No, at that time, they had split up in the Eight Tray. Nah, when Took was over here, it was Eight Tray. They had split up over here.
Oh, so that means underground was already started? And
Yeah. They right up the street, Ice Cube and them. It's right up there, Dub C. Now you're starting to see the picture paint. It started over there at the first house you just seen.
On 84th Street, right?
On 84. Now, that was in 76. Now you seeing Big James is robbing, because they don't got crack for a robbery. Tookie, even in his book, and he maintained that he didn't do robbery. Read his book. And you'll see a chapter in there where they tried, when he went to go turn the guns in when he got arrested, the police said, we need a killer. I guess it's in the book. And Tookie said, I'm not a killer, I'm a fighter. And so that's what I'm saying. Took didn't do robberies. I mean, that wasn't his MO. And if he did, I don't think Took didn't contest the first murder. It's the 3 that got him the death penalty that he said he didn't do. And I think we can cast a doubt to ask whether or not he did do it or not. Because of the fact that legally in court, they did not say that this man was a suspect in murders after being asked. They said they had no knowledge. But up under the court of law, whether the DA had knowledge or not, if it can be proven, that could overturn. It's the only thing that can happen is to suppress the evidence, which means the case has to be overturned and reversed, and the charges are dropped. Or it could be used in a sentence reduction, which he might have been asking for in that form or fashion. So I think they violated Tookie's civil rights, and we're gonna try to go into the courts because it could save other people's lives that we know on death row, Evo, Tretch, those across the nation, Ricky Sanders, Fee, C-Dub that got off, Chico that got off death row, Lavelle Frierson that got off death row, just guys we know that's on death row behind representing Crip are out there doing the wrong thing. So it not only helped Tookie, this is the way Tookie will still have a voice where he's still trying to help society. This is where Took was staying when, Esther and them set up in there, and James and them Tuss said that Tookie told him what had happened.
It's the house right here. That's the back where he kept his weights at back there.
Yeah, and that's why I had told him I seen him lifting weights, and I had told him, cause I think this dude's a snitch, cause I said, y'all was still doing time, and he's still talking about he doing time out on bail, but all the time Juice and everybody else don't want.
Yeah.
And that was the first snitch I ever knew. So I tell them, they back him and blacking. They was lifting weights. They used to keep them over there by the wall, in the back. They lifting. They didn't have that shit on the gate then, that black shit. I could see right through there. And that nigga said, Touch told him like that. Then a little while later, they turned around and told on Took about the murders. That was right before that. I just had told him.
Is this the house where the shotgun was under the bed in James Garrett's room, right?
That's it. That
That's
room
it.
right there.
Room right there. When Homicide came and talked to me, and they pulled out the map with the 7 murders on them, I got more detail about the murder where the body was dumped. So I know that's the same common denominator, the one that they talked to him about. So that's the one where they knew something had happened in this house.
Do we know the name of that victim?
No, I don't. I still think it's unsolved.
No, but do we know the name of the victim?
I don't know the name of the victim. But it should have been a cold case, and the description shouldn't be hard to find. It's on record once you say where it was, and we can pinpoint that. So everything we say, we can show by documents as far as this legal action we're trying to take. Everything adds up to where it could have created a doubt if they'd have knew the information that we had.
So basically, James Garrett is being implicated in a homicide, but then at the same time, he's becoming a witness to Tookie.
After telling the police that Tookie did this, they didn't come get Tookie till he told him. He did it.
He volunteered the information.
Yeah, they wasn't thinking about Tookie. None of them, until he volunteered the information. We know Big James was robbing. We know. We know wasn't robbing. And we know Big James was capable of pulling the trigger. If I had to pick one to be on my side, as far as pulling the trigger every time.
Yeah,
Every
without
time.
a doubt. I'm not going to even hesitate.
It wouldn't even be nothing to talk
I'm not
about.
going to even hesitate.
In most court
Always.
cases, you're not going to rely on someone who is maybe a killer to be a witness in a murder
Another
case.
yeah.
But
the
that's
star witness. He don't have him, he have no case.
Yeah.
He don't have Big James, he have no case.
Any juror gonna wonder, you got a killer up here testifying on the killer. What is he testifying for? What he get? What he gonna get out of it?
That's the first question to ask you. What is he telling about? And what do we want?
Do you think that this is also a part of the attorneys back then not doing their homework and really finding out the stuff that they could have found out?
That, coupled with the fact we got years from then now to get a clear picture, get information. Like, say if I'd have died before now, I wouldn't have heard Big James' name on the radio, and that's when I called his attorneys and said something ain't right. How could his word have been the only word that was good to get him the death penalty, and he was investigated for 7 murders, and one that I know he might have committed, that I know the answer to, where I passed the test 100 times. So I called their attorney and told them this, and they came down, interviewed me, had me file an affidavit that went to the United States Supreme Court. And I think they erred when they made their statement, because they should have gave him a due process to hear what I had to say, or he had to say, pertaining to a writ he had asked for back in '79. It's called a supplement. We added that on and think they erred wrong, and if we are victorious, the case could be dismissed. That would be the only thing you could do with it, is dismiss it.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Like and comment below to give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related videos to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description and listen to our weekly podcast, The Gangster Chronicles, every Thursday. And thanks for watching StreetTV.net.